Good evening, Chatham. This is the May 28th, 2024 meeting of the Chatham Select Board. Please note this meeting is being recorded and will be available shortly hereafter for scheduled and on-demand viewing on any smartphone or tablet device. If anyone else is recording the meeting, please notify the chair. Seeing no such indication, I will proceed. Pursuant to Governor Healy's March 29, 2023 signing of the Acts of 2023, extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20, until March 31, 2025. This meeting of the Chatham Select Board is being conducted in person and via remote participation. Every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in the order. A reminder that persons who would like to listen to this meeting while in progress may do so by calling the phone number 1-508-945-4410, conference ID 203-386-491, pound sign, or join the meeting online via Microsoft Teams through the link in the posted agenda. While this is a live broadcast and simulcast on Chatham TV, Xfinity Channel 1072, despite our best efforts, we may not be able to provide real-time access. We will post a record of this meeting on the town's website as soon as possible. First order of business is to establish a quorum. Select Board Member Metters.
Present.
Select Board Member Davis.
Present.
Select Board Member Dykens.
Present.
And Select Board Member Shell is present as well. This evening, we have a relatively short agenda. We have two sets of minutes, May 17 and May 21. We have public announcements and agenda requests. We have public comments on the business agenda, and the business agenda consists of two items. The first is to consider the use of town property for Oktoberfest 2024 with a presentation from Kristen Muller of the Chatham Chamber of Commerce. And secondly, we have a presentation from Mr. Rob Brennan of the Massachusetts Housing and Climate Innovation Center Summer All-Stars Program regarding a possible cooperation between that organization and the town of Chatham. So we will go first to the minutes. Do I hear a motion on the minutes of May 17th?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Are there any comments on, Mr. Metters?
Just one minor one. On the very last page 3, the carryover for the roll call, I think the responses are probably should be yes, not names.
Oh, no,
No?
I think that's right. Oh, wait, yeah.
Motion to
you're right.
adjourn.
No, that motion to adjourn, you're absolutely right. Good catch. Any other comments?
No.
Select Board Member Metters.
Aye.
Select Board Member Dykens.
Aye.
Select Board Member Davis.
Aye.
And the chair says aye as well. May 21.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a couple of comments. Anybody else?
Nope.
Nope.
On page 4, at the top of the page, after the carryover paragraph and second sentence of that carryover paragraph, I would like to add the following. Ms. Runquist acknowledged she had actual notice of the hearing and had no objection to the action proposed. And that is all I have on that. Any other comments with that? Select Board Member Metters.
Aye.
Select Board Member Dykens.
Aye.
Select Board Member Davis.
Aye.
And Select Board Member Shell says aye. Public announcements and agenda requests, any from the board?
Nope.
I am advised that the community health health agent, Judy George, and there she is. You are recognized.
Thank you, Chairman Shell. I just wanted to announce that at our Board of Health meeting on June 3rd, we're going to be holding a focus group to discuss our community health needs assessment that I am participating in, the Chatham Health Department is participating in with the Brewster, Chatham, Harwich, and Orleans health departments, and being facilitated by the Barnstable County Health Division. This assessment involves, first of all, a focus group, which I'm discussing, and we hope to provide an opportunity for community members to share their ideas and thoughts and insights about our community's health and our service needs in the Lower Cape area. I would encourage you all and our viewers and guests at the meeting and town members to please take part in this. I'd welcome you to call in. We're going to have this as a Teams call in, or they can come in person to the Board of Health meeting, which will be held, again, it'll be June 3rd at 4 p.m. at our regular Board of Health meeting. And again, encouraging everybody to attend. We want to get everybody's ideas about what they feel the needs are of the community and their experiences in health and well-being in Chatham. So again, Town Annex at the large meeting room where you guys meet and where the Board of Health meets at 4 p.m. on June 3rd, or you can attend online and we will have the link in our agenda posted.
So is this flyer posted somewhere that may attract some attention as well?
I have to put it up around town. I'm not sure if I put it on the website. I will put it on the website. I have it posted in all the town buildings and have sent it out to all the departments. And yes, it will be out and about
Good, okay.
this week.
I'd like to note that Shauna is nodding her head. Our communications person is
Yes,
noting.
Shauna did put it in
nodding
the
her head.
Okay,
Yes, it was in the main sheet last week as well.
okay, good,
So
thank you.
Thank you, Shauna, for that.
Okay. Any other public announcements or agenda requests from the public? I don't see any at the moment. Okay. Public comments on the business agenda. I don't see anybody here in the room with us. Are there any online? Don't see any there either. So we will turn to item A on the business agenda. And Kristen Muller, are you on? I think I see you. Welcome.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
I'll be
I'm here.
recusing
Oh,
myself.
I'm sorry, yes. Ms. Davis will be recusing from this item.
And also, too, I'm just going to make note, I am a member of the chamber, but my membership is broad enough that I'm going to participate, so we can have a quorum also.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Welcome, Kristen.
Hi, thank you. So I am before you again to request permission for the use of various town properties for the Chamber of Commerce and Merchants Association Oktoberfest, as we have done for many years in a row now. Most of the requests are the same as last year and previous years for the use of Cakewood Park and the adjacent parking lot for music and food and beverage sales, and also for the use of the town hall lot for the same. Last year, we requested an increase in the footprint in the town hall lot, and you all generously granted that, and it worked out very well. We were able to include a lot more local merchandise and craft vendors that have not really been included as much in past years just for lack of space. And so that worked out really well, despite the weather last year that was less than ideal. We still had a fairly crowded event and filled the space really well. What we are requesting, if you would consider so this year, is to simply use that entire lot for this year instead of just that front half. The truth is that the back half of the lot wasn't really used for a whole lot last year, except for some of our overflow cars that we parked back there and other such things. But nonetheless, it was technically open to the public. So what we would request this year would be simply the use of that entire lot, so that we might be able to spread out the vendor village, which was sort of smashed in between the food and the entertainment last year. And so it would give some people some space to move around, and it would give the pedestrians and the people watching the music acts some more space to do so up at the Main Street end of the parking lot, which is where that would occur. So I think I'll pause in case you all have any questions about the event, and then we can go from there.
Thank you, Kristen. From the board, Jeff?
Thank you, Mr. Shell. Hi, Kristen, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. The only comment I had, expanding the use of the town lot, and I think if it worked so well last year, it'll probably work even better this year. But the only question I have is, we're starting the sales of alcohol at 10:30 in the morning. Is that necessary? We typically do grant every one of these. It's just, we've been really kind of looking at start times a little bit lately, and 10:30 in the morning seems like, is that mimosa and Bloody Mary time, or what are we doing here? It seems early to
So
me.
the alcohol starts at 11. We start some of the music entertainment at 10:30, and that's mostly really even in Cape Gould Park. The Chatham Band sort of kicks the event off, and they do a little bit of a kids parade around the gazebo and sort of get that all, get the excitement going over there. So
Right.
the event technically starts at 10:30, but the alcohol sales have never started before 11. They go from 11 to 4, but we bookend the event from 10:30 to 4:30.
Okay, and in the verbiage, it says, consider two special one-day alcohol permits. The sales would begin at 10:30 and end at 4:30, so I guess that's non-alcohol related.
Yeah, well, that's my error. I just put the event time rather than the
11 is-
actual alcohol sale time. So technically, the alcohol sales would be from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., even though the event is 10:30 to 4:30.
Okay.
Did I lose you?
No, I'm here.
Sorry.
I just
Okay.
want to hear from my fellow contributors.
I just want to apologize in advance. I'm sitting in a car
Yeah,
on
I
the
see
side
that.
of the highway
Yeah.
on a road trip, so I was afraid I lost my connection.
No, we can hear you
so sorry
fine.
about
We
that.
can hear you fine.
Okay.
Corey, what are you going to say?
No, I mean, obviously, once this is one of those events that you just cross your fingers for good weather, or if you're gonna have bad weather, just subtle weather that still, people can still enjoy the day and activities. I guess I just, kind of following up on Jeff's comments, just want to stress that we take all the safeguards. We work with the police department and everything to secure the alcohol sales and consumption, because I know, let's be honest, I mean, there are going to be people who are going to be coming downtown that are going to probably be drinking stuff that is not coming from your source whatsoever. They're going to be walking in on their own, and they're the ones that may be, tainting some of the events, or the vision, the perception of how the events are controlled. So I would just stress, work with your safeguards, protocol, the security, the police that are involved, and keep it a safe event, and hopefully no hiccups will happen. But I don't have any really issues with it. We've done this before for a couple of years. I don't think there's been any major issues. I mean, there's a couple of small, subtle concerns that have been expressed over the years, which are valid. And I think we could just button those up, and we should have a fun event.
Yes, and I have spoken already with Andy Goddard about the possible change to the size of the event space, and I will follow up with him. Whichever way it is approved, we then allocate the appropriate number of police details in terms of choke points and egress and ingress points. So once we know what our scope is, then I will work out with him how many police details we should have on duty.
Jeff?
Yeah, thanks, Michael. Yeah, you noted in your write-up, Kristen, that you're going to have adequate parking between Eldridge Garage and ancillary satellite lots. What are you thinking about shuttle buses and satellite lots?
So last year we used the middle school lot, which worked out fine, and we had 2 shuttle buses, which we found to be overkill last year.
Okay.
So we will contact the school again. There's some nominal fee for that, but we don't, that's not a problem at all. And that seems like the best place to have extra parking. Last year during Oktoberfest, there was a unaffiliated event happening at the community center, some sort of a health fair or something. And so we actually, people couldn't even use the community center lot to walk into town. I don't think we're overlapping with the same this year. And if we are not, that's an extra lot that was not available to us last year. But we will still have a shuttle coming from the middle school that loops around and sort of comes around Cross Street, drops people at the corner of Cross Street and Main, and heads back out of town without ever coming down Main Street. And we're planning on doing that again.
Okay, that sounds good. Thanks.
Kristen, I have two or three mostly technical. One, your memo said cleanup to be completed by 5:30, and it was kind of hopeful. The resolution says 5, and I just wonder if that isn't a little bit tight. And as far as I'm concerned, 5:30. But just for good order's sake, maybe the resolution should say 5:30.
That is fine with me, absolutely. What we tried to do last year was get both parking lots back open ASAP, and then sort of finish cleaning up around that, because we wanted the parking lots to become, public use again. And then, if we were still carrying tables and moving trash cans and things like that. So that's the hope. What we did in the Kate Gould parking lot was, as soon as the time was up, sort of get the food trucks out of there and get our cars where we needed them to load them, and then let people pull in and start parking. And that would be the same hope in the town hall lot. A lot of the craft vendors start shutting down. They start packing some of their things, 4:30. So, they can start cleaning up, especially if we allow them in that backside of the parking lot at town hall, and then they can start packing up. So I would hope that by 5:30, the public spaces would be public again. We might not be done cleaning, but we would be able to, open them up to people at least.
Okay, and that's fine. I saw the 5:30 over there. I thought you may as well have that in the motion.
Sure.
Second question I have is, in terms of the outdoor display and sale of goods on town property, is that all 3 locations?
It is no sale of goods in Kate Gould Park, only in the adjacent parking lot.
Okay,
And then the 2 parts of Town Hall lot would both have sales of goods, but nothing would happen in the park proper as
Okay.
per the deed.
okay, that really wasn't clear. I appreciate that. And then my last question really is prompted by Jeff's. I'll just ask the question he didn't ask. I'm not really concerned particularly about starting beer and wine service at 11, but I think in terms of just the overall perception, I'll ask the question whether you think that it would be a burden, if you will, to back that up to noon. And that really is an information question more than anything else.
On the surface, no. My hesitation is only in that, we contract out with vendors to provide this service. And last year we worked with Cape Cod Beer. We have not contracted a vendor yet for this year because we needed to see how much space we had first. But, on some level, they have this obvious desire to make it financially worthwhile to them. So I think, a bit more time. I think that if we didn't start till noon, they might request a stretch at the other end, which is not a problem for us, but I think becomes a problem for the town in terms of restaurants and, other things for the evening time. So making this happen all day and then be done when restaurants start, kicking into gear is probably better for everybody involved. But so I think, the 5 hours from 11 to 4 would be from the restaurants in town, they would prefer that to a 12 to 5. Because if we moved it back to 12, the request would probably come to push it on the back end, in terms of, you know, maximizing the effort it takes them to bring their trucks and to fill them with the, you know, the kegs and the taps and their staff and all of that. So that would be my only hesitation in saying, you know, I'm not married to 11 a.m., but I think that the 5 hours is probably more important than what 5 hours those are.
I'm fine with that. I don't know, do you have any thought?
No,
I
I'm
guess
fine
the
with
only
that.
thing that prompts me to ask another question, which is 11:30 to 4:30. But other than that, I'm going to leave it to
Which
you.
would be fine.
I'm going to
Would
leave it
would
to
be
you,
totally
whatever.
fine with that.
Okay.
All right, good. Okay.
So 11:30 to 4:30?
Yep, yeah, that's what I'm gonna,
I mean, are we not going to have requests from individual merchants for one-day alcohol permits for that
oh, good
event?
question, Michael.
Well,
Good question.
not
That was an
directly
issue the
related to
last year,
us.
I think, wasn't it?
Shauna, did we get a lot of requests for, not to,
Shauna Neely, licensing agent, not for Oktoberfest, it's the Christmas stroll that's
Oh,
really with
okay,
the individual
okay,
stores.
all right, good, okay. Then 11:30 to 4:30? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the use of town property as requested by the Chatham Chamber and Merchants Association for the 2024 Oktoberfest on Saturday, October 19th, 2024, from 10:30 to 4:30, with set up beginning at 6 a.m. and cleanup by 5:30 p.m. I move to approve
Go ahead, why don't
I
you?
move to approve
Let's do
2 special one-day alcohol licenses for wine and malt beverages at Kate Gould Park and the Town Hall lot at 549 Main Street on Saturday, October 19th, 2024, from 11:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. I move to approve 3 special one-day entertainment licenses for live amplified music and amplified recorded music at Kate Gould Park, Chatham Bars Ave lot, and the Town Hall lot at 549 Main Street on Saturday, October 19th, 2024, from 10:30 to 4:30 p.m. And I move to approve the outdoor sales of goods on town property as requested by the Chatham Chamber and Merchants Association at the locations requested by the Chatham Chamber and Merchants Association on Saturday, October 19th, 2024, from 10:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor, Select Board Member Metters?
Aye.
Select Board Member Dyken?
Aye.
And Select Board Member Shell says aye. Thanks very much, Kristen.
Thanks so much.
Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay, our next item of business is the application or the presentation from the Massachusetts Housing and Climate Innovation Center Summer All-Stars Program, and we have with us Mr. Rob Brennan, President of that, Directors of that organization.
Great. Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. Members of the Select Board, thank you as well for this opportunity. I feel blessed that we're here on a night with what I understand is a much shorter agenda than usual. So I'm going to do as best I can to keep this to a short meeting. But I want to introduce to you the Mass Housing and Climate Innovation Center, as well as speak about a program that we're launching this summer. This organization was born in a lot of ways out of a conversation or thoughts that led to a conversation with Governor Baker when he was still in office. And the conversation went something like this. It was me speaking with Governor Baker. Governor Baker, would you be surprised to learn about a program where the Commonwealth is working with MIT to identify climate challenges, to get companies to respond to those climate challenges, bring those ideas, bring those companies to the Commonwealth, test out, prove up the concepts, set up those businesses in the Commonwealth, and have incentives for those companies to relocate to the Commonwealth and set up businesses. So he said, no, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Well, the MIT is the MIT that we all know in Cambridge, but the Commonwealth that MIT was working with on this was the Commonwealth of Virginia. We weren't doing this in Massachusetts at the time. But we are now, and we're doing it here on Cape Cod with a particular focus, and that's at this very unique intersection of housing and climate challenges and technologies that can be proven, be demonstrated, and help solve those challenges that are under our feet, but also as Cape-proven technologies take steps forward towards investment and commercialization and broader adaptation. The message that we have been carrying to members of trade organizations, including the Northeast Clean Energy Council, to laboratories that were sponsored by HUD, like Oak Ridge National Laboratory, is that the Cape is open. The Cape's open for housing, Cape's open for resilience, for decarbonization, for innovation, and for investment in all of those, for the climate economy. But it's for proving up concepts and proving up solutions to challenges. The two most profound challenges, and I'm not telling anyone in this room or anyone watching at home what they don't know, but it's that we're faced with compounding challenges of climate change, need for climate resilience, the need and for mitigation as well. And just before I go any further, my perspective on all of this is not only as chair of the board for the Mass Housing and Climate Innovation Center, but I also, I'm a practicing attorney representing housing developers. I live in Barnstable. I chair the Government Affairs Committee for the Mass Home Builders. I also serve on the board of directors for the Cape Cod Climate Change Collaborative. I serve on the National Board of Directors for the National Association of Home Builders. And I see the crossroads of housing and climate, particularly as they play out here on the Cape every day with a foot in both worlds of housing and climate. And those feet are often, in those two concepts, housing and climate, are often at a tension because building for climate resilience means building for more robust builds, and that often means more expensive, and that has a negative impact. Same goes for carbon mitigation. Building towards net zero, when you have few choices on how you're achieving those net zero thresholds, typically means going to the products listed in the very back page of Pella Windows or others. Those are the most expensive products, they're the highest performing, but there's the fewest of them. So that adds to the cost. So the challenge really is, how do we build for climate resilience? How do we build for net zero? And how do we do that affordably? And MIT did a study this past year for the mass home builders looking at that, looking at the increased costs of moving from a stretch code to a net zero code, what those impacts would be on housing affordability and production, and then looking for tools and solutions. And one of the tools and solutions they put on the table, and they said it's through innovation. It's through building those better, less expensive products, so both better performing in terms of resilience, better performing in terms of net zero, but also more cost effectively. And that's by attracting more folks to bring their solutions forward. We here on the Cape, obviously, we've got a very vested interest in that. We have over $16 billion of assessed property value in the special flood hazard area. These stats were provided by the Cape Cod Commission. And that translates for our 15 towns into properties that are exposed, but also properties that are supporting our residential real estate tax base. So there is in building, and wherever we're building, whether we're building outside of the flood hazard areas or within the flood hazard areas, building those properties so that they can be resilient, so that they can remain, not create impacts to the surrounding environments. But that all takes new ways of doing business. But this challenge here on the Cape between housing affordability and housing resilience and climate change also creates opportunity. Right? So we have 15 towns that can serve as a living laboratory, proving grounds for innovations of climate resilience, decarbonization and net zero construction, and housing affordability. And there are technologies that are being worked up. These are the materials, products, technologies, models of building more resiliently, and systems that can be net zero in terms of not emitting carbon. The challenge that these technologies have, and they're being worked up in places like Oak Ridge National Laboratory, in places like Greentown Labs in Somerville, also coming out of private industry laboratories, is making that move from the whiteboard to the bench, and then from the bench into the field, right, into the intended environments that they were designed for to prove their efficacy. That is the opportunity here across our 15 towns, looking at our natural and built environments to have these technologies, again, whether it's materials, products, technologies, models of constructing, coming into the field, going onto rooftops of municipal buildings, going onto waterfront areas, and demonstrating how they work. That's an important step, because that's the step at which they attract additional investment. That's the step that they take those moves forward into broader mainstream adoption, right? We want to see them go from the whiteboard eventually onto the shelves of our hardware stores, right? So that we are building with these new materials, products, technologies, and models. But making that leap is often the most challenging one, of finding the places that can put them to their test, but also the places that are open and welcoming of having those things proven in the field. So Mass HCIC was born August 1st, 2022, and I know that date because I was in the room, and it was the One Cape Conference in 2022. We had Joe Curtatone, who spoke at that. Joe was the former mayor of Somerville and the chair of the executive officer of the Northeast Clean Energy Council, which Joe was instrumental in launching Greentown Labs in Somerville, which is an incubator for clean technologies. But Dorothy Savarese was also in the hall. So when Joe was speaking about the need for finding places for technologies coming out of Greentown Labs to find their way onto the Cape, I grabbed Dorothy Savarese, and if you know Dorothy, for a promising spark, she is the oxygen that can set that on fire. So within a couple of weeks, we had a group that was traveling to Greentown Labs: Joe Curtatone, Dorothy Savarese to the right, Christy Senatori, Paul Nizwicki, Dan Wolf, John Cox from the community college, people that you know and recognize. This, was seen and mobilized as an all of Cape Cod effort because of both the opportunity, but really because of the need to bring solutions at this unique and amplified crossroads that we're at between housing and climate. So exactly 1 year to the day from August 1st, 2022. On August 1st, 2023, we filed our organization as a Massachusetts not-for-profit. And again, the founding board members include folks that you saw, in the photo, and others that you'll recognize as being, folks at the table with their sleeves rolled up here on Cape Cod. So the mission is to leverage innovation to increase climate resilience, decarbonize to achieve net zero emissions, and advance more affordable production and renovation of housing. And I know that this is these are all issues that are I know, of importance to this town as well. In my capacity on the board of the Cape Cod Climate Change Collaborative, have the opportunity to work with Janet Krause and Janet Williams, who I know are involved in the climate action plan here. So again, in bringing this, I know that these are not issues that are going to be new to anyone here. What we are focusing on is looking at, as I mentioned, those technologies, and this is a technical term, technology readiness levels, 5 and above. What does that mean? Again, it means those ideas, those concepts that have gone from the whiteboard onto the bench, that have been proved up on the bench, and that are now, ready to go in for field testing, scaling, deployment, and eventual manufacturing. And another benefit that we have here, and why the Cape is uniquely positioned, is because we have the Cape Cod Commission, and we have their extensive GIS database. So what we are talking about building out is an opportunity, atlas for innovation here on Cape Cod, right? To go into each of the 15 towns, working with the Cape Cod Commission to identify those opportunities, for testing and deployment, but also to identify specific challenges that our 15 towns are looking to solve for. And while they might be of the same general variety, particular challenges that are before Chatham are going to be different than particular challenges that are present today in Sandwich. So also identifying, those particular challenges that the town is trying to solve for. The audience, for this atlas is going to be, again, those labs, be they government, academic, or private industry, off of Cape Cod that have those promising innovations that are looking to go into the field. So this, again, is looking to mobilize an all of Cape Cod effort with each of the 15 towns participating and working with the Innovation Center to identify those opportunities for innovations to be proven up in the town. So again, the message going out to the industry is Cape Cod is open for housing resilience, decarbonization, for innovation, investment for the climate economy. We have a very unique summer program that's very exciting that ties in with this. And this is built on a model that I know is known here. It's the model of the Cape Cod Baseball League. And I know Chatham's got its anglers who bring the best of the best from college baseball to the Cape every summer for an 8-week session. We're looking to do the same exact thing. So just like we're bringing future all-stars who sometimes go on to be New York Yankees, we're looking to bring those students who are going to be the all-stars in housing and climate innovation to the Cape for the summer. So we have 8 undergraduate and graduate students coming to stay with host families for 8 weeks. They're going to be working together as a cohort to help build out the Innovation Opportunity Atlas. They're also going to be spending their time here advancing independent research in a variety of areas, all of which relating to housing and climate. So we have our students from Harvard, Boston College, Wentworth Institute of Technology, and University of Kansas that'll be coming here starting on June 15th and then staying for 8 weeks. The opportunity for Chatham to participate in this is to join us as one of our partners for the summer. And again, what our all-star students would be doing is one would be assigned, in addition to their independent research, to work with a town liaison. Again, this is not a supervised internship, doesn't require that level of commitment, but just to have a liaison in the town so that our students who are going to be working, again, with the Cape Cod Commission, applying a common rubric on going into the towns and cataloging those opportunities to identify, again, where innovations could be deployed, for field testing. Looking at municipal buildings and assets, natural, coastal, and inland resources that could serve as those platforms. And the commitment, it's a $2,500 commitment toward the stipend, and these stipends will be paid both to students and to the host families, and a point of contact, someone or multiple people in a town that are familiar with town-owned properties and assets that could point and provide access as needed to our students. At the end of that summer, what we'll have is the Chatham chapter as part of this, first set of chapters for this Innovation Opportunity Atlas. I would love to see Chatham join for so many reasons. First of all, as just a marquee town on Cape Cod that's known nationally, globally. It means a lot to us to be able to say to our corporate sponsors that Chatham is participating. It also helps us attract students, and it helps us attract students for next year, seeing that Chatham has participated. But also knowing, that there is already mission alignment between the work that's being done with the Climate Action Plan here in town, as well as, looking at solutions to the workforce and missing middle housing challenge. So I think there'd be great opportunity and great interest, for these innovators from off Cape and really, globally to bring their proposals to field test opportunities, here on the Cape that could be incorporated into future projects in Chatham, that could be branded as Cape Proven and could be then, scaled and exported for solutions far beyond Cape Cod. So that's an introduction to the Innovation Center and to our summer program. I hope that you'll consider it favorably, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Rob, thank you.
Sorry, Shireen.
That's okay. Rob, thank you. I have some questions, probably more about logistics for the staff, just to see if this is workable for us. But This is so exciting, and it really aligns with the goals of our select board. A few years prior to COVID, a group of us were looking at how would we attract academia to Chatham to address climate issues for our community, and what that would look like. And we invited some folks into town and just sort of had those conversations. So it's a very similar sort of concept. And I'm very supportive of us being part of this. I think it's forward-thinking, and it's something that is going to address housing issues, but it's also going to be, I think, if it becomes something bigger than ourselves, which I think these kind of things do, then it's an economic engine for a new and not a new economy, but economy that's driven towards conscientiousness and understanding of what our real needs are. I'm very supportive. My question to staff is, we've done something similar, I think, did we do something similar with like volunteers that came in and did some mapping or something at one point a few years ago? Do you recall, Katie? I don't know if they were AmeriCorps, but we funded some work around, they might not have been AmeriCorps because that would have been a volunteer thing, but I think we had some folks in town that were doing some work, some academic hit.
I believe you're correct, but it wasn't something that I was involved in.
Okay. Nonetheless, thanks. Are we positioned to be able to fund a project like this? And also, has there been any thought to who would oversee it on a staff level?
Sure, thank you. So I did speak with our finance director, and we have identified a funding source to be able to fund it out of the FY24 budget. So that shouldn't be a problem. And I actually reached out to our DPW director, our director of natural resources, as well as our principal projects and operations administrator. Not only were they all supportive, they were all excited about it.
Yeah,
I think that between myself and the rest of the group, we'll certainly be able to spend some time with our All-Star and also identify a point of contact once we hear more about it.
Okay, great. That's all the questions I have. I am in support of this fully.
Thank you.
Jeff?
Thanks, Michael. Yeah, Bob, wonderful presentation, fascinating, interesting. If Cape Cod's the Petri dish, then Chatham is your number one Petri dish, to be honest with you. Surrounded by three really distinct bodies of water. We struggle with coastal resiliency from all three sides, if you will. Right now, addressing the issues of affordable housing and green housing and how to get to the ultimate in green housing, et cetera. So this is wonderful. I echo Select Board Member Davis's comments about pre-COVID. We did have folks in. It's a fascinating, I think, endeavor. I always envision kind of a Woods Hole East, if you will, to take a look at. It's just a great place to experiment and to innovate. Absolutely. My only real question, other than very positive comments about the whole thing, is what's the deliverable at the end of the summer? What are the students going to deliver back to you guys?
No, thank you. That's a very good question. So as I mentioned, the first phase of the Innovation Center, again, is building out across all 15 towns this Innovation Opportunity Atlas, right? And again, building off of the backbone of the Cape Cod Commission and their GIS, this will provide, an accessible interface, for, again, all those academic, corporate, and government laboratories of what are, the opportunities. Again, what are the unique challenges, like prioritize challenges of the towns, but then also, so if someone was looking, again, that they had a technology that was looking for a coastal environment that is experiencing erosion, being able to put those criteria in and seeing, okay, we've identified, this coastal area, that's a town beach in Chatham, and maybe there's multiple. If they're looking for, an inland pond or an estuary that is compromised as, with high levels of nitrogen and algae blooms, again, being able to identify that. So it will be those first chapters, of this Innovation Opportunity Atlas. So this would have a chapter for Chatham among the first set, of, I think we're doing 6 this summer. So that would be the first piece of it. But, to pick up on some other comments, that is not the end-all, be-all for the Innovation Center, right? We decided to start with what distinguishes and what we have available, and that is the natural environments here. And that is the need, for the proving ground. But we see, and in the business plan, opportunities that go far beyond that, of establishing, physical locations, throughout the Cape that folks can come and work out of. But also going beyond that, attracting the academics, to come here and study, working with the community college and building out of their, science and engineering building, as well as, again, remote locations as well. So this is definitely phase one. But to answer your specific question, that deliverable for the summer for Chatham will be that first chapter of the, one of the first chapters of the Innovation Opportunity Atlas, Cape-wide.
Yeah, great. And I was just going to comment, you've got a dream team there on your board. It's really an impressive array of folks. Good for that's a good team.
We certainly do, and I think really it's a reflection of just how grave these challenges are that we're able to rally a whole set of all-stars to our board as well.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the 4Cs, the new science center, and that's a great tie-in as well. It's a no-brainer. Thanks. It's great. I'm very, very much in favor. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, Corey?
Thank you. No, philosophically supportive of this, no problems whatsoever. I just have a couple more mechanical questions concerned or to get clarification on. There's an ask for one or more town staff. Have we budgeted and identified the staff that we might be asking to help participate in this? Have we covered that review, or is that kind of already queued up, or for starters?
Yes. So I've spoken with, again, the Director of Natural Resources, the Public Works Director, as well as the Principal Projects and Operations Administrator, and all were excited to work with the candidate that would be in Chatham.
Okay, good. And then you made the comment of the comparison of the Cape League baseball with host families. Do you have host families already lined up for these individuals, or are you going to be reaching out to solicit for host families?
No, we do have host families that are lined up already. Okay. Yeah, we knew that was we knew from the Cape Baseball League folks that was the challenge we wanted to take on first. So we wanted to make sure, A, we had the host families, B, that we had the students, and knew that once we had host families and students, we knew that we'd be able to get the interest of the towns, or hope that we'd be able to get the interest of the towns.
Okay, and then one very minor, just for my own clarification, the ask is the $2,500 to help with the stipend. In the cover letter, it's for the student. In the presentation, you also mentioned the host family.
Yep.
Do you just kind of clarify that?
Yeah, so the students over the course of the summer it's a $7,000 stipend in total to the students. It's a $1,200 stipend to the host families. We're also bringing on corporate sponsors. So corporate sponsors are coming on at $10,000 each, and the municipal sponsors, we wanted to have a much lower threshold, so that's at $2,500 each. Okay. So all of that will go towards the program funding that will, again, include the student stipends, the host family stipends, some, small program administration, and then, as a travel and materials as well, to get these students to, to be able to all, see the entire Cape, get them into Boston and meet with officials, et cetera.
Okay, great. No, thank you. I'm supportive.
Yeah, I could spend a long time on this. I'm thrilled with this. I think it's great. And just a couple of things. One, can you give me a sense, what is the Atlas at the end of the year, or at the end of the summer? What is the Atlas? Is this a compendium of projects and ideas and status in terms of development, or give me a sense of what that
So I think
looks like.
it's right. So again, we're building all of this, off of the Cape Cod Commission's GIS database, right? So again, it's been great investment, and I think, as you probably all know, it's an incredible source of accessible data that also has geolocation, in it as well. So this is going to be building out another accessible layer, on top of the Commission's existing database for innovation opportunities, right? So just like you could now pull up a layer that says like wetlands, and you'll see, Cape-wide, all of the wetlands in the GIS database. This will be another section. So again, you might be looking for, solar arrays, right? So where solar arrays are located, on municipal buildings. For a company that might have a new component for solar arrays that wants to see how they, prove. It could identify, projects that are in the queue, right? So projects that are in the queue across all 15 towns, again, for those companies that have innovative materials that might want to bring those forward and propose their incorporation in construction projects. So all of these things, and kind of with innovation, one of the things that I've learned is you don't try to identify solutions, right? You're identifying challenges and opportunities, right? And the innovators know what they're looking for. They're going to be looking for something very specific because this promising innovation was designed for a specific criteria and it was designed for a specific environment, which is why we're also going to be working, with Greentown Labs, which is why we're also going to be working, with folks at HUD. We're going to have our students interfacing, with those innovators to see how it is that they're thinking about, identifying where they are looking to place their innovations. So it's very much a challenge of just trying to describe the lay of the land and the opportunities, but by focusing on municipal-owned buildings and lands, that limits, and also, we know that can then be the, in terms of creating that connection between an innovator and a place that they're looking to deploy. If we're working with towns, we know that there's a body and a mechanism as opposed to just working with private landowners and trying to find out who they are and track them down. So this is all in terms of kind of mainstreaming and facilitating cutting through red tape in the interest of proving up ideas here across Cape Cod.
So, and that's helpful. Thank you. You mentioned corporate sponsors. I think of kind of big companies, maybe, in Massachusetts, but off Cape. Is there a role, either in concept or you actually have them involved, for local builders, local tradespeople, local trades that are facing these issues as well?
Right. No, it's a very good question, and in fact, yes. So part of we're building, just as we have with the launch of the Innovation Center. This is a broad coalition behind this. So for instance, Mid-Cape, their parent company, because again they're providing building supplies here on Cape Cod. They saw the opportunity and they saw the pathway of proving up, ideas here and those turning into products that are going to be on their shelves. So Mid-Cape's parent company, is one. The Home Builders Institute, which is a nonprofit segment of the National Association of Home Builders, they are looking at job training, here on the Cape and are currently actively meeting with schools and other organizations here about building out a job training presence, here on Cape Cod, building for resilience, building for net zero, and building for affordability. They are a sponsor as well. And one of the research projects done by a student will be looking at, the opportunities for the Home Builders Institute to work with and build out a Cape-wide training program here. So yes, very much. And workforce and training for construction is an important part of that innovation, right? So it's innovation in how we train, innovation in how we build, not just what we build with.
So, not a question, but I just want to echo what I heard from all of my colleagues here. One of the first things that came to mind, as Jeff put it, was, some sort of a Woods Hole East in this neck of the woods. And I think if this holds out the prospect of something like that down the road, hopefully not too far down the road, but as part of the expansion and development of all of this, I think it would be fantastic. So I'm thrilled. I think it's a great idea, and thanks for bringing it here. Ms. Davis.
I'm going to make a motion if I think we're all said our piece here. I move that the town of Chatham participate in the Mass HCIC Summer All-Stars program as outlined and provide the required $2,500 contribution to participate in this initiative.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, Select Board Member Metters.
Aye.
Select Board Member Dykens.
Aye.
Select Board Member Davis.
Aye.
And Select Board Member Shell says aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank you.
very
Look
much.
forward to it.
I look forward to working with you.
Great.
Motion to adjourn? Or do we have anything else?
I think
That's it.
we are complete. That's it?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
All those in favor, Select Board Member Metters.
Aye.
Select Board Member Dykens.
Aye.
Select Board Member Davis.
Aye.
And Select Board Member Shell says aye. Thank you very much. We are adjourned at 6:26. Good night, Chatham.